Hi all. I've been working on this guitar, and I thought I might as well do a video, show you what I'm doing. Uh, it's a Fender Squier. I bought it at a small guitar shop, and it's more or less a Stratocaster copy, but it plays really well. The fretboard is rosewood, and as far as I'm concerned, it plays just as nice as a Strat. These are the strings that came on it, so I know it's due for strings. I bought it probably a year ago. I still haven't put strings on it, and it's been sitting down in the basement, and I don't have a dry basement, so I mainly bought it as a beater for the basement. But I love it. I love it as good as my Steinberger. So okay, but she keeps going out of tune, and after I tune it, it still doesn't sound right. So I think I got it pretty good now. I've been playing around with this stuff here, but I just want to throw out a few tips. Okay, so just some basic things to check. Okay, so first, make sure the neck's on tight. Make sure these things are tight, especially if you bought a used guitar. You never know what type of shape it's in. So those were just a little loose. Okay. Next thing is, there's a metal rod. There's a metal rod that goes down the center of the fretboard. That's that thing there. Okay, that's just an Allen wrench. Okay, so I've got some Q-tips here. I put some spray oil on them. Let me get down there and clean out the dust. It looks like it's getting pretty corroded. I just sprayed some oil on the tip. Okay, so clean all the dust out. You can see that it's an Allen wrench. Normally you don't have to mess with these things, but if yours is all out of whack, these are things that you might want to check. Oop. Okay, so what that does is it's the shape of the fretboard. Okay, so I think this one's fine there, so I'm not going to mess with that. Something else is, another thing is these things. If these are loose, it may not be staying in tune. You don't have to tighten those up a lot, but just a hair. Okay, now on some guitars you can take off that cap, and there's a little screw in there that you can tighten up, but on these it doesn't look like you can get in there. You might be able to get to it if you take it off, but I'm not going to mess with those. Okay, but those are rare. You'd be able to tell if yours were loose. It's going to be real wobbly. So those feel pretty good. Okay, so next, the strings are a little high for my taste. I've been playing it like that for a year, but they're okay, you know. But I like them a little lower, and that's what these things are for. Every guitar has a different way to adjust them, but when you do it, just make sure it doesn't rattle. So I don't have a real small Allen wrench, but I saw that this thing works. Just have to be real careful not to strip it. And I don't need to crank it down much, so I'm just going to be real careful. Just lower it just a little bit. Like I can tell the second string's really high. I try to make them all even. You know, what you want is the fretboard's kind of got a round shape, so the strings should kind of follow that shape too. The thicker strings need to be higher off the fretboard because they rattle more. See how that's bouncing up and down? So that's actually kind of low there. So okay, so just for messing around the house, you know, I don't care if it rattles a little bit. I usually have on distortion anyway, so if it's low and rattles, I don't care. It's just a lot easier to play. But there is quite a bit of rattle there. Okay, so you know, that's all personal preference. You know how low you want it. Like if you know you're going to use this guitar for all distortion, you can set it low, not worry about the rattle. And then for songs that you play clean, use a second guitar that's set a little higher. You know, and then people that use that, and then people who play lots of slide will have a separate guitar just for slide, and they'll have it set really high. So I just wanted to lower these just a little bit. You know, I'm getting old and it's kind of hard to play. So. I hope I don't strip these. See, and then that one might be hitting that sucker there. So what I did on this one, I kept hitting this one with my pick. So I lowered this one down as much as possible. You know, that may not be good if you're playing live, but for just messing around, the house, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so that one's hitting there. That's actually set low. So that might be something to do with the truss rod, you know, that rod that goes down the middle. Tighten up that rod, it brings the neck up a little bit, and then you might be able to set these lower. But I'm not a guitar technician, so I'm not going to mess with that. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit more playable. So next, you know, I'm just going to look down and make sure they're somewhat even with a slight round. Okay, let's see how it plays. See, just lowering it just a little bit there, that really helped. Okay, so lowering those strings just a little bit, that really helped. Just to give you an idea of how small those are, here's a little eyeglass kit that I found while I was looking for a small Allen wrench. And we all know that's a really small screwdriver, right? That's too big, that won't even fit in there. That would have to be a really small Allen wrench. This still rattles, but I'm not gonna worry about it. That's hitting that thing there. Okay, so next I'm gonna tune it. I have a Fender tuner. You can plug the guitar in here. Put that in here. Plug this into the guitar. Turn up the volumes. Okay, and then just tune the guitar as normal. Okay, so you can see this. I'm gonna put some tape on there so it holds it on an angle. Okay, so E. A, D. First time through I'm just kind of getting a rough tuning, because as you change this moves. This is a tremolo, so you got to find a balance here. Oh, that's something else you should check. Check these screws and make sure they're fairly tight. D. G string is the one that's giving me the hard time. B. Okay, and then something else you can do is like check E and E. Like these two should be the same. And E here. E and E here. And B. You know, of course, it's a lot easier if you're sitting down. You know, A and A. A and A. You know. Okay, so it sounds like it's pretty good. Okay, so now we'll check it off the 12th fret. And these should be okay. Okay. So now here's the tricky part. Okay, so let's see here. So E is good. 12th fret is good. And then we want to get a 12th fret harmonic. Here's the double dots over this piece of metal here. And that should also read E. Okay, every guitar's harmonics are slightly different, but in general it's right over the metal. So just barely touch the string, and then as soon as you pick it, lift your finger off. And then A. Check the A tuning. That's close enough. It's a little flat there. Okay. D. G. B. Okay. They're all pretty good because I did the adjustments the other day, but I'll show you how to do that now. Back in the 80s, I was studying with a guitar player that had perfect pitch, and the fellow was really good. He could pop in a cassette tape and just write the song down on a piece of paper without even picking up an instrument. Start drawing out diagrams, start drawing out the tab, you know. Harder things, you know, harder guitar solos, Metallica solos, and things like that. He'd have to pick up the guitar and hunt and peck for some things, but he was just born with that ear, you know. And the reason why I bring that up is because he told me one time, he said, just tune it best you can and forget about it, you know. Don't be too picky. I used to study piano with an older woman. She was 82, and she was the director for the Music Teacher Association in my area. And she told me one time her piano, the F sharp never sounded right to her. You know, like when she's playing the scales. And there's just something odd about F sharp. It's got that hard, twangy sound that it just never sounds right, you know. So I think that's why I'm having trouble with my G string. You know, that's what I'm dealing with. It's G and F sharp. It's just got that twangy sound. So let's say this A, if this A was off, I'm going to purposely mess it up. What we're going to do is move this thing back and forth. So let's say I'll just move this. Okay, so now the string isn't in tune, right? Okay, because we've changed the length of the string from here to the nut. The string length is different, so we're getting a different note. Okay, so now I'll tune it to A. Okay, 12th fret, and then 12th fret harmonic. It's just a little sharp. 12th fret. We have to get the 12th fret in tune. Okay, then we get the harmonic. And if both of those are on the right note, then we're in good shape. So you saw me move that. It's still in tune, so that just shows that you can move these a lot and it's not really going to change things much. Let's mess with the D string. You got D harmonic. D harmonic is just a little low. So I'm going to tighten this. And then I'll tune it. I'm working around the camera here, so. Okay, so if the 12th fret harmonic is sharp, move this that way. So the string's in tune here. Strings in tune here at the 12th fret. Then we get the harmonic, and the harmonic's flat. Okay, so if it's flat, I want it to go toward the nut. I want it to go that way. So I have to loosen this. Okay, so then tune the string. Okay, tune it 12th fret. Okay, then get the harmonic, and the harmonic's still a little flat. So if the harmonic's flat, you got to move it toward the nut. Tune the string. D, check the 12th fret. 12th fret's a little sharp. Then 12th fret harmonic, and it's still just a little flat. So that's what I was saying. You can really move these a lot and you don't get much of a change. Okay, so that's about as far as I can go on there. So I'm not gonna worry about that. That's as good as it's gonna get. So. Okay, now we'll do G string. G is the one that was giving me a hard time. G, and then 12th fret. It's a little flat. And then 12th fret harmonic, and that's right on. It's close enough. It's a little sharp. If it's sharp, if the harmonic is sharp, this goes that way. So I can tighten that up just a little bit. See, we changed the length of the string, so now it's a different tuning. Okay, so there's G, 12th fret, should be the same, right? G and then harmonic. And it's close enough. B string, 12th fret, a little sharp. And then harmonic. Okay, good. E, 12th fret, and harmonic. It's a little sharp, or it's a little flat, so I could move it toward the nut. Now you can see that's out about as far as it'll go. Close enough. 12th fret, and then 12th fret, harmonic. It's a little flat, but it's gonna have to do. Okay, so that sounds pretty good.